Death of a Unicorn is a 2025 American film written and directed by Alex Scharfman, his feature-length debut, actually, and stars Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, and Téa Leoni. Man, A24 is really taking a beating this year with original IPs and like first-time directors. Is this film as bad as its reputation? Let's see. The plot follows a teenage girl and her dad on a work-related road trip where they accidentally crash their car into a unicorn. A baby unicorn, actually, and its parents are pissed. I remember reading something about the trailer eliciting a lot of negative reactions earlier on, leading A24 to not have a ton of confidence, I don't think, with this film, which is kind of surprising and also kind of sad. And I've got to say, I don't know if I should be concerned or not. But some of these new and original IPs from A24 are just not doing well. And I don't want to see them retreat into mediocrity like Blumhouse did. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe I am kind of focusing more on their movies that are not doing well and overlooking their movies that are doing well. I haven't really been checking all the numbers lately. And I'm not sure if it's because people don't want to see them because, again, original IP, or if they just didn't think that, the trailer looked good, maybe. I mean, this film just barely made its money back. Just barely. Yeah, from last I checked, I think a week ago, and it's actually out of theaters now. So yeah, barely made its money back, and that's with the star power of Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. I mean, two A-listers, I was intrigued by the premise. I mean, who doesn't want to see a live-action film with unicorns? The lead here is Jenna Ortega, and she plays Ridley, a fairly ordinary teenage girl, reluctantly tagging along with her dad, Elliot, played by Paul Rudd. They have a pretty typical relationship that would normally exist, between a dad and a teen kid, but it's clear that they love each other. And they're on a road trip to Elliot's employer's house, Odell Leopold, when they hit something with their car. Not a deer, but a unicorn, a young one at that. Like I said a baby. I'm not sure if it was a baby, but it's small compared to the others. And like I said, Jenna Ortega is the lead here, so Paul Rudd does kind of take back seat to her a little bit. And though I wanted classic Paul Rudd, he's pretty dialed back here. It's for the character though, and he plays Elliot well. He's more of a typical career-driven, middle-aged dad who struggles to, not lose sight of what's really important at times, which would be his daughter. We all want to give our kids a future, and sometimes finding a balance is hard, and we shift, more towards our work, than trying to understand, our kids, and that's kind of where Elliot is at. I mean, Jenna Ortega's good here. She's very professional, but I didn't get a lot out of her character, other than feeling like it's not a particularly interesting character. And honestly, I thought Jenna was pretty good in X. That's probably my favorite performance of hers, but I haven't seen anything with her yet that has made me like a fan. That said, I could see it happening. It's possible. But the characters that bring the most laughs here are the Leopold family. They're clearly written to be your typical ultra-wealthy American family. And to be honest, the Leopold family felt so relevant today to, a rich, despicable family who will exploit anyone they can to make some cash. But I think it's fair to say that Will Poulter kind of steals the show here as the drug-fueled, spoiled rich kid's son, similar to how he did the same thing in Violent Night, or at least I thought. Just kind of stole the show as far as, comedic timing. Oh yeah, and the unicorns themselves, because that's likely the real reason you're, interested in this movie. I mean, live action unicorns. And, they're pretty interesting. I'll say that much. They aren't like the cute, fairy tale unicorns. They're more monster looking, which I thought was kind of cool. Even there is a little bit too much CGI here. The baby unicorn actually did look practical, so I'll gladly give them credit for that. But, I don't know. I'm giving the Death of Unicorn a 5.5 out of 10. I kind of wanted to score it higher, to be honest, but, there just isn't a ton here to grab onto. It's obviously a film written around an intentional gimmick, but it also tries to be clever when it's really nothing that we haven't seen before. The greed of the Leopolds does feel relevant today, so I'll give Alex Scharfman that, but it's still far from original. Don't get me wrong though, this movie is far from bad, and I was entertained by it. I had fun. The gore was decent enough, and the ending was actually kind of edgy, and I appreciated that. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at the multiplex.